There is a fifth dimension.
A dimension of sound.
Damn it, Frank! We tell him to be quiet. I spilled my hot cup of Uranus again.
A dimension of sight.
Hey, Arch. I'm gonna sock you in the puss.
A dimension of mind.
Nan Adams, is that you?
Next stop, the Twilight Zone.
I'll send you the list. Anyways, let's go ahead and do this. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Fifth Dimension. I am your host, Nick, and we're back to talk not the Twilight Zone today, but a precursor to the Twilight Zone. We're here to talk what was that? Oh, she was like,
I wasn't paying attention, so I can't help you.
Oh, damn.
I mean, Jake said
attention.
a thing whispering and dangerous, and I decided to scream.
I was just logged in and being like, let me listen to what Nick is saying. So I was looking at you, and then I don't know what happened on the bottom half of my screen.
I see how it is. Anyway, so we're here. We're back. It's after the Twilight Zone has finished up. We did our wrap-up episode. I proposed doing the Twilight Zone movie next, but I'm like, you know what? We still haven't finished the original 1959, 1960s, Twilight Zone-esque stuff with Ross Serling. I think we should go back. And they're like, of course, let's go talk about Lost. I think we should go back as well.
What?
And yeah,
I watched the
that's what Jack says in Lost. He says we gotta go back to the island.
Well, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
That's right. But yeah, so it was kind of a quick put together. I asked them the day we're recording, hey, you guys want to record tonight? Because I'm bored and have nothing better to do. And then like a couple hours later, I sent an email or Twitter or whatever, Blue Sky or something with YouTube, and Alex is like, can I watch that? I'm like, sure. You want to come on and record? And she's like, sure. What time? I'm like, let me talk to Triv. And then Triv's like, wait, we're recording tonight? I'm like, yeah, of course. It was a fun time. And Jacob's like, I guess I'll come on if I have to. And then
you asked me and I said, yeah. And you said,
at least he asked
are you sure? I was like,
no, the thing is, what's funny is that on Discord, he asked me after sending link, and then he was like, oh shit, I didn't ask Triv. And I was like, what do you mean you didn't ask her first?
I thought I'd
see where I
ask
rank.
Well, I mean, it was a quick put together, so what can I say?
You probably figured you'd say yes.
I know. We have no life.
I should scrape you up in a spoon and put you in a cup.
See, that's why I have you on here, Triv. You know all the trivia stuff.
You go stepping on your lip again, and I'm gonna do something really cool and clever that guy said. I can't remember now.
As sure I am as that God made racehorses, I'm pretty sure that this is really off kilter, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
I am currently drinking a martini so dry the olives are coming up coughing.
Exactly.
Yep.
Oh, actually, how you guys doing, by the way? Everybody good? Everybody having fun?
You asked that like 5 minutes ago.
Did I? I don't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. I already told you guys I don't remember what I do half the time. So
well, you got to rewind yourself a little bit to 1941, and then maybe you'll be like, oh, that's the time. Gotcha.
Yeah, Nick, are we subnormal, abnormal, or just average Americans?
I just live here. I usually say I just work here, but when you ask that, I say I just live here. So
yeah,
I'm an average American who's abnormal, but I play an average American on TV.
Okay, American Dad.
I'm just an average American. I'm just an average American standing in front of another average American, asking them to love me.
I'm just a dude playing a dude from a TV show that's a dude.
That doesn't make any damn sense.
I don't know. Robert Downey Jr. said it, so.
Dude. Whoa.
Anyways, so how you guys doing? Everything good?
Nick, are you holding?
Great.
Yeah,
Nick,
I think we should be asking you, like, how are you though, Nick? Are you okay?
I'm wonderful. I'm tired.
Nick, are you
it's
holding hands and biting earlobes?
Oh, so you're the tired one. I see.
Am I doing what?
Are you holding hands and biting earlobes?
Always never earbuds. Earlobes.
Sure. We'll go with that.
She's asking if you're celebrating a honeymoon.
Am I celebrating?
How about
Look, turn that way again, like you did a second ago. No, keep turning. Nope, turn your whole head.
No, turn your.
Look, he's got his dent in his head.
What?
Top of your
back
head
here?
is disappearing.
It looks like you have a dent in
Just
your
like
head.
a
when you
crater
do
on your
that.
head because it
Yeah,
cuts off.
I took my. They were like doing construction in the back, so the cat ran under the couch. So I took the green screen down. I forgot to put it back up. I'm like, yeah, whatever. It's
It's
fine.
only when you like
It'll live.
turn all the way sideways and it just kind of.
No, even now it's
Yeah.
like it kind of goes like
It's the
It's
light.
because
Way to,
the
like, being
green
like-
screen's not up. Because so
he's
it's a little
doing
weird.
the Alfred Hitchcock thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so the time element. This
you
is
doing?
a really.
How you doing, Nick? Life good? Are you staying hydrated?
Oh man, I'm doing wonderful. So the time element. No, okay, so once again, I was thinking about where we'd go next for this podcast, and there's been several different things that we talked about, in the past like 3 weeks of recording because we can't decide anything until like the last minute apparently. And I was thinking about we did the wrap up episode, which Alex, of course, you were on, which appreciative, and then we were gonna go do the movie with possibly Dan from TYTD. I was just thinking like. Jacob and everyone had brought up the time element on the wrap up episode. And I'm like, you know what? That would probably be a good idea to talk about because that is kind of the origins for the Twilight Zone. I mean, it is in essence a Twilight Zone episode, but from the, Desi Arnaz, Lucy, what was Lucy's last name?
Lucille Ball.
Lucille Ball, thank you. Their company called Desilu, and they started something called Westinghouse, and they would show like
No, they didn't start Westinghouse. Westinghouse was its own thing.
Well, no, I mean I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
It was-
They
Westinghouse
were
was
part. They
Desilu
were
Playhouse.
Yes, they were in conjunction, but they in essence had Desilu Playhouse, and they would put on similar
Just
to like
realized that's where the name
variety.
came from, Desilu.
What's up?
I just
I
realized where the
referenced
name
that.
Desilu
Oh
came
my
from.
god, I referenced that when you came on the call. Did you not
Yeah,
hear?
I mean, I knew Desilu.
Don't
I
get
was
the
aware
Nick
of it.
syndrome here.
I didn't realize until just now that it was a mixture of their names. It's like Benifer and Bradgelina.
yeah,
They were doing it back then too. Oh my gosh.
I
they did
know.
it before it was cool.
Yeah.
They did indeed. But anyways, they would put on like productions every week. They would, do like, sketches, and then they would do like movies and TV movies and stuff like that. And one of them was a story called The Time Element, which was written or co-written by Rod Serling. And it actually brings in Martin Balsam, who is a regular on The Twilight Zone, and William Bendix. And before we had watched this tonight, before any of you guys had watched this, have you seen this before? Anybody watched this before tonight? Because I had never seen this before.
I watched the first 5 minutes a few months ago. That's it.
You were trying to prepare yourself to come on the podcast. You're like, oh, I gotta watch this Time Element.
I was curious.
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, so going into it, were you guys like surprised that it was like 50 minutes long, or like it's a really interesting thing to watch when you think about it?
I mean, given the stuff of that time, the hour format isn't like crazy outside the box for something like this. Just because, like, when you're talking about the kind of Playhouse stuff to form the story and everything, they tend to keep it in an hour.
I don't know. It's interesting because it doesn't follow the machinations of like I'm so used to hearing Rod Serling talk at the beginning, at the end. I'm so used to like a particular way of doing things, and here we have an episode that it's introduced similar to like a game show with Desi Arnaz coming in. He's like, we have the greatest, a great episode for you tonight that's gonna be kind of crazy, and you'll love the time and you'll love the element, and it goes into like an episode that feels like it was filmed on a soundstage. It's really interesting. I don't know.
I mean, there is an actual narration type thing,
but it's like
who's
I mean,
narrating?
there
Who's
is,
the
but it's
narrator?
like
it's not the same thing. Like, it's not as eloquent or well spoken as what we get with Serling, but I mean, it still shows you where things were going, because it does have elements of that. They talk about just even the timing aspect. It's like, they talk about all of these things regarding the time element, which, or the time frame, which Jake will get into. But then they're like, it is perhaps chronologically trite to be so specific about a date and hour, but involved in this story is a time element. So they pull everything back. It has that Serling base that you expect.
It was different from other Twilight Zone episodes. It's very different. But seeing as how it's kind of a pseudo pilot-ish, I mean, I got that. But as it went on, it seemed more Twilight Zone. Like at first it was kind of weird. I think it was because of the different narrator and the introduction and just, it was lack of there's not a lot of music in it either. But then as it went along, I did feel like it was more Twilight Zone-y. Very Rod Serling.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting that because when did it premiere? Sorry, I'm usually more prepared than this. Premiered on November 24th, 1958, so like at Thanksgiving time, which is fascinating to have an episode like this premiere then. You'd think it'd be like more upbeat. No, it's about a guy who goes back in time to the Pearl Harbor situation.
Well, I mean, it
a
was
few days prior to the date they mentioned.
Well, it was like a day
Pearl Harbor
before.
October 4th.
It was like December. Well, they said like
December
December
6th.
Yeah.
I think
No,
she
it goes
talked
back
about
one
when
day.
it premiered.
So it was kind of a relative. It was kind of relevant to like the actual day that it happened. So I'm assuming
Oh, I
maybe
see.
that
You're talking about
just,
the
like-
actual, like the yeah. I get
Yeah,
what
I'm
you're
talking about the
saying.
actual
Yeah.
the release of the actual episode. I
Yeah.
just figured maybe like that was the most like timely they could get the episode, maybe without like
Right.
interrupting anything or like for advertising. Maybe they still had to have like that refrigerator promoted ahead of Thanksgiving. I'm sure. So
Yeah. The other
I
thing to
think-
remember though too is that with any of these episodes, like this was something that it was not like a Friday night movie or anything, but this episode was one of however many in a season. It didn't stand out as something special because of like Serling writing it. It was just another one in the rotation of the ones that they covered.
But it's interesting
Like
to see that this is kind of what spun off the Twilight Zone because well, no, the reason I say that is because I don't know if the like execs at CBS like really were surprised how this won people over, or they felt maybe that Rod Serling had something that could help them like get some ratings. Like it's really there's not a lot I can find on the production of this outside of just being a kind of jumping off point for the Twilight Zone. Like it talks about it got overwhelming the response. Let's see, delighted audiences, the humorous sincerity of Mr. Sterling's dialogue, consistently entertained by Jack Gould from the Times. I guess that makes sense. Over 6,000 letters of praise. Maybe it's just funny how they got so optimistic and then all of a sudden it just went downhill after 5 seasons. I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
crazy that back then, like nowadays you get comments that people leave like on a whim in a heartbeat. They don't even think about it. They just leave some shitty comment or a nice comment. Back then, motherfuckers was getting out pen and paper, writing letters, talking about how much they like some shit, putting it in an envelope, slapping a stamp on it, and going to the post office and dropping it off. That's how
there was word of
passionate
mouth
they were.
too.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think people left the same kind of comment, not the same kind, but like people would write, in a huff, or in a moment of anger, like
Well, yeah,
I
but
mean,
you
I
actually
know
had to
that there's
send that
more
shit off.
effort. Well, yeah, but I mean, what is the send button now that a stamp was back in the 50s?
I mean,
know?
admittedly, you can do that a lot quicker. You could comment in literally 30 seconds and be done with it. Back then, you had to put in a little bit more effort. I feel like those written letters, be they negative or positive, held a little bit more weight, or at least
Well,
they
I
would.
mean, some of the people leaving that stuff. I mean, look at some of the Twilight Zone episodes we've discussed that had hate mail or
Oh, for sure. There's always gonna be hate
things,
mail.
right? But things of that nature. That's a hate letter takes the same effort as a letter of praise. I mean, obviously it's a different kind of energy, but the two are not. If something pissed you off or something delighted you, you did the same thing as a comment section. It's just a different time. And the idea of, what constitutes a lot of time is definitely different, but same basic idea.
Hmm.
I understand what you're saying though. It's an interesting transition. Like,
Yeah.
It's that whole water cooler effect. I'm sure this was talked about the next day because I mean it talks about how like there's been really nothing like this when it aired, and Desi Arnaz had to come on and explain to people this is kind of a twist narrative and stuff like that. But
was the
I don't
twist the
know.
fridge at the end?
Yeah, yeah, the twist is the fridge. Yeah, the nice fridge that they promoted and tried to get people to buy.
100 pounds of not 100 pounds of food, but however many pounds of food you could fit.
In the freezer.
Yes.
Where did you
Wasn't
guys
even in the
watch?
fridge.
I know where you watched it, Nick. Where did you watch it, True?
It
What's
was
it
through a
on?
YouTube link.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on YouTube. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was looking for because I had forgot you had put it on Plex, so I was looking for a copy and I found one that had like the intro with Westinghouse and stuff like that. But I didn't
It's just like a
realize that.
re-upload kind of thing.
Yeah.
I was missing the
Um,
smooth taste of Oasis, though. Not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, it was just really weird because like they're like the episode happens and then like the like commercial break happens like 30 minutes into the episode. Like happens really far into the episode. It's pretty crazy because
Mine
you're
had
used to having
two.
like
2 or 3.
what's
Mine
that?
had three commercial breaks.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember.
One
I
was
think
like
the one I watched only had one.
10, 15 minutes in. It was like
Well, I think
about
the
every
one you-
15 minutes.
The one you linked, I think the actual like advertisements were like there was just a fade in and out, so I assumed that they were just kind of cut ahead of it being re-uploaded.
Oh, okay, that's probably true.
Yeah, at least the link you gave me. Like that's what I
Mhm.
figured
You're
why
right.
the faded blacks were. It was just to stay relevant to like what actually was within that Desilu Playhouse advertising. And all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and then you have
Actually,
the greater advertisement of Westinghouse itself in there too.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
Something interesting I found out, Joe DeRita, who played one of the Curlys in the Three Stooges, was at the bar, and I learned something new today. I didn't realize the original, or not the original, not Shemp, but the next one, Curly Howard, Jerome Horowitz. I didn't know he died like in the middle of the production of the Three Stooges.
Oh yeah.
One, I didn't know they ran that long, and two, I didn't know he had died of like had a stroke or whatever. That's interesting. Not really
He
interesting,
died-
but kind of fascinating.
He died young, generally
Yeah.
speaking. But so did
And
Shemp,
like,
really.
well, yeah, but
You
then they
said
had like
Curly
Joe Besser,
Howard?
and then what's up?
You said Curly Howard was in the episode? Oh.
Not this episode. Well, so there
Was he
was
the
four.
drunk guy at the bar?
There were 3 different guys that played variations on Curly. It's like there was Curly Joe,
Oh.
regular Curly, and I don't remember what the third guy was. But
Gotcha.
so they started. It was Mo, Larry, and Shemp, and then Shemp I think passed, and they brought in Curly, and it was started as a vaudeville act. So Mo, Shemp, and Curly were brothers. So that's why it was always, when they're like paging Dr. Howard, Dr. Fine, Dr. Howard. But then Curly passed, and I think they brought on Curly Joe after that, and then something happened with him, and then they brought on somebody else. But they were guys that sort of looked like Curly, but weren't. So
Interesting.
yeah, they ran for ages though, in one way, shape, or form.
Have you ever seen that?
I didn't
like,
realize there
later,
were
like,
3 different ones. I
2012
thought it was just
movie
2.
though? This is irrelevant.
Maybe it was 2. I thought. Let's see here.
Well, I didn't know Curly. I thought it was Shemp, and then he went away, and then Curly. I didn't know there was another one after that. But I mean, I'm not like a Three Stooges connoisseur or anything.
Have you watched the 2012 movie?
I've seen bits and pieces of.
What's funny is that I saw a few ads on YouTube, and I was like, I'll watch it. It's not as awful as I thought it'd be.
Choices
Oh, it
were
is.
made.
Not gonna lie.
It is played the role of Curly after Shemp's death. Okay, so you got Joe Besser and Joe DeRita.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there were 3 either until I saw the thing. Anyway. Nick, we can't hear you.
Our fourth stooge has his mic turned off.
Is he also
Oh,
playing
yeah.
Curly
Our
because
Curly.
he's not
Given the
yeah.
contact, I was gonna say no. I was
I
gonna
am older.
say, am I the Curly replacement? Because I just showed up as technically the 4th chair, or
You're the Shemp of the group.
yeah, I'm the Shemp of the group.
Hey, Shemp was awesome. He was probably my
I don't know.
favorite.
I never really watched
I
the,
didn't even know
Three
about
Stooges. So.
Shemp though.
Yeah. He looked a
learn about
lot
this
like
guy.
Moe's. Like he looks like a taller, like not skinnier so much, but just like a more lanky Moe.
Curly hair.
No, he didn't. He had straight
Mm.
hair. Like his hair
He had
was
straight hair?
pretty much his hair was pretty much like Moe's.
I thought he
I
had.
can't believe.
No,
Guys,
you're
let's just
thinking
talk about the
Larry.
Three Stooges for the next hour.
And I'm thinking Larry. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a Three Stooges connoisseur. I'm
I
very
enjoyed
aware
them
of
as a kid. Let's see, hang on.
Yeah.
Hang on.
See, if you were to identify with one of the Three Stooges right now, which would it be?
Definitely Shemp.
Oh, I'm definitely Curly.
Yeah.
right, Shemp.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking he
Mo,
had
because
like wearing a hat
in
with
the
curly hair.
2012 film, he was in the Jersey Shore. It was the dumbest fucking part of the movie. I was like, what the hell is happening? It was that, and Sophie Vergara was like ran away in the movie as like this weird love
Larry David
interest
played
thing,
a
and it was
nun
so
for some
weird.
reason. Yeah, it was
Well, why
weird.
wouldn't he play a nun?
Well, honestly, like
I
the
don't know.
first, like, because I remember the film was separated into like acts, almost like how like the whatever the shorts were. So like the first third of it was like just the Three Stooges, and I was like, okay, like this is kind of entertaining. And then it's like more of when they get into the real world, I think is when things get like a little convoluted or just a little too like all over the place.
Hmm.
It's a odd, you just gotta watch it and just you gotta believe it to see it. Because
Gotcha.
yeah, you
Hmm.
just Jane Lynch is in it too as a nun. Would recommend. She's not in the time element though.
I know.
He's
Such a
not.
No,
shame. She should be in
no.
the time element.
Imagine.
She's old enough, so she should have been.
Damn.
Um, no, I'm
Imagine
kidding.
if the
I'm
Three
kidding.
Stooges came in being like, they just slapped the guy. Imagine if they were the ones punching him. That would have been a fun sound design wise.
But yeah, the time element is an episode that stars William Bendix, Mark Bassam, Darryl Hickman, Jesslyn Fax, Alan Baxter, Bartlett Robinson, who else? Joe DeRita, Gene Coogan. Once again, Martin Bassam is probably the one that you'll recognize if you've been listening to our podcast because he's in a lot of Twilight Zone episodes. But I think William Bendix, who plays like the main character, is actually quite good in this episode because he's having to do a lot of heavy lifting. And he's a guy who is literally sitting having Martin Bassam talk to him. I'm surprised he didn't like jump out a window at some point, like Alex alluded to, as being the better version of Perchance a Dream.
We'll get to
Um,
that.
yeah, but I think I don't know how you guys feel about this episode. I think this is a really good episode. I think it shows that Rod Serling was not burnt out at this point. He just was creating good work, and it's
This
a
was just
really
the beginning, Nick.
Before the
How
show
could you
even
burn
started.
out?
well,
I
yeah. I
hope he
mean, it's
wasn't
like
burned out.
it's like the Tracy Ullman show, with The Simpsons. But I don't know. It's really good. It's a really fun, entertaining. It's one of those you kind of see coming if you've ever seen like The Shining or something like that. But it's an episode that I
The
don't know.
Shining.
I thought it was really good. What do you guys think? Directed by Alan Reisner.
Wait, how question.
Answer.
How does this correlate to The Shining?
Because of the ending, because of him staring at the picture.
Oh, like there's something about like
Yeah,
Jack
because
Nicholson's
Jack
character?
Torrance is in the picture at the end of the Shining. He's in the party crowd.
Oh, but like, did the
Yeah.
stuff in the house happen? I haven't seen The Shining.
Oh.
You ever seen The
Oh.
Shining?
No.
Well, we got at least watch the Shining. We'll watch the Shining.
Yeah, watch the Shining.
The Simpsons.
Watch the
No,
Shining and
there's,
then The Shining.
So the whole point is a ghost, or like the ghost of or tempting Jack Torrance to kill his family. At the end, he freezes to death, but in the end of the episode, he's like
Way to
consumed by
spoil
the
it.
house. Well, I
Right?
mean,
Well, I know about
are
the
you gonna-
frozen part. I know
He blew
about
up in the
I
book.
know about the key moments in
Yeah.
it. To be fair,
But no, but at the
I
end
do.
they do a shot of the picture frame of the 1920s party or whatever party it was, and in the middle of the picture is Jack Torrance as part of the party guest for the 1920s. So that's
Oh.
what I meant by what this episode does, where it is Peter Jensen in that picture frame of which I thought was kind of I think it's a very clever,
So he
very
was
well
like
put
a
together
he was
ending.
like a ghost the whole time, kind of thing.
No, not it
No.
just he was consumed by the house,
Yeah.
by the kind of.
Oh,
Yeah, it was like they took him as like a prize or whatever.
that
I
kind of
guess.
reminds me of. Actually, it does remind me of. I was watching a gameplay of like Resident Evil 8, I think, that village
Mm.
one.
Village.
And there's something similar with like the lead guy's character where it's like I don't want to
Ethan?
spoil it, but there's like a reveal where it's like he actually technically was he was like alive but technically not sort of thing, and like there's a weird, like,
Without spoiling
blend
it,
of,
yeah,
like-
something like that.
Yeah.
It's
Kinda
it's
reminds
quite
me of that.
it's quite the surprise because you don't see it coming, which
Yeah, I
I
didn't
really
see it
like that
coming.
game. So
I own 3 copies of that game. Never played it.
Do you have the VR copy?
Never played it.
That's surprising. You mean you didn't
Oh
want
yeah, it's
to
a good.
you didn't want to
Well,
go
it's a good.
against Mother D though?
I do. I want to play it, but I haven't beaten 7 yet. But
Oh.
I feel bad for that woman.
Seven
The
was
woman died.
interesting
I
as
love
far as watching
7.
the gameplay.
But Trip, let me start with you. Like, what do you think about this episode?
Yeah, it was really kind of nice to go back to times when, like, you get into the 60s episodes, a little later
Uh,
60s episodes, and you kind of lose some of the, I don't know, like, I've kind of been joking around with all the different phrasing and such, and I miss that phrasing, and it was kind of nice to get back to, like, pre-earliest episodes and have
yeah,
that kind of,
Sexicon.
it was refreshing. I don't know how else to describe it other than refreshing.
It
Yeah,
just
but-
took a few. It just took going back a few years and being like, "Wow,
Yeah.
I can
It
breathe."
feels so nice.
It's like visiting like a warm, cozy blanket.
mm,
Except you're being
Okay.
shot at by Japanese airplanes.
mhm,
I mean, if you
Yeah.
can't be shot at by Japanese airplanes, what's the point?
yeah.
I
I mean, honestly, I really enjoyed the episode. I had a lot of fun with it. It definitely took a little bit because I do feel like in the very beginning when there was that conversation between sort of or between Jensen and the therapist, I felt like it was a little slow, but I think once it got to the dream sequence part, I think it definitely picked up from there and I was very enticed with how it was going to, I guess, play with time. But I think how it manipulated time but still was able to make sense, I think, is what made it really fun for me to watch because it wasn't like as confusing. That sort of
Yeah, it's a
thing.
little longer than it needs to be. It could probably lose like 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, it can
I
definitely
think.
be more like, I don't know, even if it was like 45 minutes versus like 50-ish, I feel
Yeah.
like it actually would still be pretty solid. But I think mainly with that, it's just like some of the back and forth dialogue in the therapy sessions. But I understand that they were trying to build some kind of like rapport between the two characters. So I was able to disregard that because I felt like the actual dream sequence stuff was a lot more fun.
Jake, what you got? I know you got stuff and things.
You said you liked it, Nick.
Oh God, no, no.
I hated it.
Yes, I like. Yes,
No,
I
I
liked
didn't hate it. I did.
Damn you.
I did like it. Similar to what Triv said, it was kind of like going back. It really made me yearn for season 1 and proves that we were correct in saying season 1 is the best season.
Yay!
I'll still
Because
disagree with that, but sure.
I will also still disagree, but Nick and
It
I are on a different.
harkens.
I think Nick and I are on a different wavelength. I think than you
Yeah.
two, but
It harkens back to season 1 era where, okay, so the story, I mean, as it goes on, there wasn't any like big like surprise, like, oh my God. I mean, there's a twist of fate and all that, but it just, I don't know, it had like an originality and or maybe not even that, just a fire in its making. Everybody seemed like they were just like, oh yeah, we're on board with this. They didn't seem like it was old hat or anything like that. It just seemed much more lively, like season 1 did. And the dialogue was my favorite part of this episode. Um, Admittedly, some of it in the beginning was a little bit drawn out, but I think it was supposed to be to preserve the mystery of, what's going on, what's he talking about. And I think we've grown. Speaking about the length, I think we've grown to expect the dialogue to be super snappy to move it along within a 24-minute time frame. But since this was an hour or 52 minutes or whatever, they were afforded the time to not, I didn't feel like they padded it out. I just felt like they were afforded the time to take their time. And I really enjoyed that because I could totally see this episode being a regular Twilight Zone episode and being 24 minutes. They could do it. But I feel like we gained a lot more by it being an hour long and just like little bits of like getting to know, like, did we really gain anything story wise from it being an hour long that they could have done in 24 minutes? No, but we did gain something from like these characters, like the main character, Johnson, I think is his name.
Jensen.
Jensen.
Johnson. Okay. Well, he like every time this dude opened his mouth and said something, it was fucking gold and it was amazing. He had some of the best quips and just ways of saying the simplest things. He would say things in these very complicated ways, but they were just so cool the way he said him. I can't even remember him. Like the whole thing about he tells the guys like you step on your lip again, I'm gonna I don't know something. I referenced it a few minutes ago. It was great though. I was driving home watching this and I was like that was great. I love that. I need to go back and listen to that, but I didn't. But yeah, it was. I really enjoyed that. The story itself was it's classic Twilight Zone. It felt like. I got some questions about the ending, like the very specific of the ending that we'll get to. But once again, some of it, disbelief, you got to suspend it a little bit. But I really liked it. It takes a few minutes to get into and let it get rolling. But once it does feel very much like Twilight Zone. And I was happy to see that.
It does take a bit to get going. I think, like, once again, that's, any writer sometimes when they start out can, they're always going to have, like, be a little rough around the edges. It's an episode that I love how it resets itself every time he dreams. So he runs into the same people over and over and over. He tries to stop them. You really feel for the young kid who is part of on the USS Arizona, and his like soon to be wife or his wife or whatever she is. And
Wife.
I love that it has stakes. I love that it's dealing with something that he can't fix, and it causes nightmares for him. And I don't know. I really enjoyed it. I'm about to sneeze.
Bless you.
Cut
But
that.
yeah, I was
You
like,
didn't!
I'm
Cut
gonna
the
start crying. I was like,
sneeze.
I gotta sneeze, damn it. I don't know, yeah, but I think Peter Jensen has a lot of great moments in this, and when he goes back and he talks to the guys, they're like, yeah, we're gonna put all our people on Pearl Harbor, and we're gonna send all our soldiers in and battle the Japanese, and you know what, you're gonna lead them, and I'm like, I see what you're doing there.
Mm.
So
Quite honestly, that whole part there could have been cut out and you wouldn't have lost anything as far as like story beats. But that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. I think like that being in there just really added something to it. They still could have gotten their point across without it, but that whole scene of him going to the paper and all that, it just really added something
Mhm.
to the enjoyment of it all.
I
And
think
yeah, I mean,
so
it's
too,
even
but
getting to know the
I
character.
yeah.
well, I was gonna say I think it mainly was because of I don't know the doctor that came in that made that scene at least like interesting to me. I don't know if you guys felt the same, but I feel like if there wasn't the doctor involved in that situation, then I feel like it would have been like, okay, let's just get back to the hotel kind of thing. Like they don't believe you kind of, but like I think with the doctor offering some believability along with whoever the other guy was who was like writing out the details of what he was saying, then
His little
sort of
sketch.
picking up on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I think at least with that interaction between the both of them, I did like at the end. So it felt like it paid off by the time that sort of wrapped up and we were back at that moment. But I don't know. I feel like if they didn't have the doctor character there, I don't know if I would have like liked that part of it.
I like how they were able to detain him too. Like I
Yeah.
don't think that they could like just make someone stay there. I mean, people come in and say crazy shit at my work all the time. It's not like I'm like, hey, stop. We need to do an intervention here. Just like, up, there's another crazy.
Yeah, it's like I said, I love the stuff at the bar when he's talking to the people, and I love when the plane shoots into his like room or something. I don't know, and he talks to that lady. He's like, "What day is it?" "Well, it's Christmas Day, sir." And it's
Come
yeah.
back up
She's
here.
like, "What
We'll
the
have a
hell's?"
dance later.
Yeah, it's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's like it's December 6th, and you're in Hawaii. He's like, "I didn't know they built this hotel in New York or whatever." He's like, "No, we're in Hawaii, sir. We're at Pearl Harbor." And I just love that. That's the kind of setup I like because it's very simple, but it's also giving you a lot of cool like conceits and concepts and stuff like that, which I thought I'd appreciate. So,
Did you guys
um,
know he had gone back in time in the beginning?
When he started talking about the whole like December and because he said that he was in October and he's doing the 30-day paths of June, October and whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the fact that he was off on that made me think, okay, there's something like he's gone back somewhere. But then when they said December 6th, it's like, okay. He's Honolulu or he's in Hawaii
I
and
didn't catch
December
that.
6th, then yeah.
I thought he had just jumped forward in time and had like a time lapse or something. I didn't even catch the fact that the date and everything.
I may have missed it, but did they actually say why he goes back to Hawaii? Like why
No.
is that time? It
No.
just happens. It's like
Just one of those Twilight Zone things.
Well, I think that's
Oh,
why
okay.
he was seeing the therapist. Like I think that's why there was that predicament because even Jensen mentions in the episode that he had never like personally been to Honolulu except for in the dream, the recurring dream that he was having. So I think it's just something where it just felt like this recurring nightmare that like he would just kind of, kind of dive into like via REM.
So what you're saying is it's pretty similar to Perchance to Dream? Because that doesn't
Okay.
really have a
All
no,
right,
like
so
that doesn't really have
think of
a
that. At
It's
one
kind of
point, he's laying on the couch and he's asleep, and I was like, "Are they gonna have this dude die there, and he's
I
gonna
also
jump
had
up
that
and
thought
jump out
too.
this
I was
fucking
like, oh
window?"
God.
Is this? Am I gonna have to talk about tonight about how this is like the pre? Because I was liking the episode. I was like, I like this. Am I gonna talk about how I have to like the precursor to Perchance a Dream? I was like, they set me up for this shit,
we did that on
Ah.
purpose.
but he didn't jump out the
We
window. So.
Oh man.
To me, it
All right,
almost felt like,
yep.
oh, sorry, I was
No, go
gonna,
ahead. Go ahead. No,
I,
go ahead.
okay, I'll go ahead. That's fine.
Here's
How
a
you guys
quarter.
doing?
A quarter. No, you need
Yeah.
that quarter for food. Anyway,
Okay.
no.
Spicy
Sorry.
take.
No, I was gonna say that when watching this episode, I don't know, for some reason I connected. It wasn't just per chance to dream, I think because of the dream sequences and it taking place in that therapist's office, but I also felt it being similar to almost like Ring-a-Ding Girl because of how it almost jumps to this certain point where like this person is trying to still live out these sort of like moments and like not be so like in paranoia about everything, but also be so aware of something that is happening or going on and trying to warn other people. And then they end up being involved in said accident, occurrence sort of thing. So I also felt like that was really, at least I correlated those two episodes as like being pretty similar to this one in those regards. But I mean, in general, I think as far as like being like ahead of the attack of Pearl Harbor, I do also think that was an interesting choice.
Well, there's that one episode where the guy what
Are
was
you
it?
talking
He
about the
goes
last
back to
flight?
Pearl Harbor.
Oh,
He
No.
goes
He
back
goes
to
back
try
to
and kill Hitler.
Hiroshima, the
yeah,
one where the guy's trying to stop the
Oh,
Hiroshima
yeah,
bomb.
yeah.
He goes to a few
Oh,
different places, I think.
yeah. One of them was actually Pearl Harbor, I think, if I
You know
remember
what's
right.
funny? There's a
like in
I
the
talked
wait,
about it.
sorry, is
It's
this
in
the
it's
Twilight
like the
Zone
fifth
movie or
season.
is it?
No,
Oh, the
no, it's a
fifth.
TV show. Yeah, yeah. No,
Oh,
I'll look it up.
okay.
Yeah.
I was confusing it with a different
No,
thing.
you're good.
He's got the
c-
time travel thing. I think, yeah, the time traveler guy.
Because
Yeah,
there's
I know what you're talking
actually
about now.
the and it's not again not Twilight Zone specific, but it actually is another Sterling thing. It was a movie done where it kind of does the whole Christmas Carol thing, but it's a guy that kind of is ambivalent about the way of the world and stuff, and they take him like goes to Christmas past, present, and future, and they go to
Oh,
someplace when he's a kid, and then they go to Hiroshima modern day, and then they go like this crazy place in the future. But
Hmm.
it's kind of following that
yeah.
same feel.
I forgot what it's called,
Um,
but I know
Carol for Another Christmas
yeah, I
is what it's
know
called.
actually it's been covered through I've talked about like Walter Benesiak on here before, but he talked about that like a few months ago
Nice.
actually with that and I like wanted to watch it because of him because I had no idea.
It's a fascinating
It's
movie.
good.
Like, and you look at the
Yeah.
historical, like the way it was received at the time versus the way, we look back on it. I mean, it's like anything. It's that,
Oh, Carol for Another Christmas.
yeah.
That's what it's called.
Is that not what I called it? I'm sorry.
Oh, I don't know if you said it. I just
No
was like,
worries.
oh yeah, let me figure out the name. Sorry. I might have
No, that's
not
right.
heard it.
No, you're good.
the
Sorry, bud.
Twilight Zone episode I was thinking of is actually from season 4. It's called No Time Like the Past. It's the two guys talking. A scientist goes back in a time machine to prevent tragedies, both in
Yeah.
world history and his own past.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh. That, yeah, that sounds familiar.
He keeps
yeah,
fucking
yeah,
him up.
It's so
yeah.
confusing because there's so many like there's just so many episodes in the Twilight Zone that just sound similar or like sound like they're interconnected to each other in a way that it's like It's harder. I don't know. It's just hard to like recall.
What are you saying, Alex? You saying all episodes are the same? Gosh.
No, I'm saying
No, I'm
some of
kidding.
them are like some of them
No,
just have
yeah.
similar premises as all, so it's just hard to
I
remember them all because there's 156.
I guarantee you we're gonna be doing this like a couple years from now, and we're gonna go back and like, wait, what episode was that again? Like,
Yeah,
we're gonna be like, look up the title, and we're like, what?
I don't
What?
even know how the 80s episodes will be.
I'm still trying to figure out how we're gonna do that. I don't know if I think we're gonna like
Tubular.
separate them, the
Do you
segments
know
or
how
whatever.
do you know where it's available to watch?
I have it
Is
on
it
my
on Paramount
Plex.
Plus too, or is that
I mean, you can find it on
I only know
YouTube,
the
but the
original
quality's not very
series.
good. Maybe it got taken off, and now it's on like Tubi or something like. I don't fucking know.
By the time
It's
we get to it, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, it'll probably be like wiped clean from
6 years
existence.
later,
Yeah,
there will be one giant streaming service back then. No, probably not.
exactly. Be the Max Prime
We'll be on to whatever's
Mal.
next after streaming. Beaming.
Yeah,
Gaming?
Beams
yeah,
right to your butthole.
we're gonna attach little
Alright.
chips to our head like in Black Mirror. It's just gonna be yeah. All right, Jake, let's do the whatever narrations we have. I don't even know what this is. It's like some kind of opening narration and closing. I don't know what that is.
It's an opening narration and closing narrations. Been doing this a while. Once upon a time, there was a psychiatrist named William Gillespie, and a patient whose name was Peter Jensen. Mr. Jensen walked into the office 9 minutes ago. It is 11 o'clock, Saturday morning, October 4th, 1958. It is perhaps chronologically trite to be so specific about an hour and date, but involved in this story is a time element.
I think
In
there's
the
another one
Twilight
in there.
Zone.
In the Twilight Zone.
There's
In the
one
time
much
in the
later,
Desilu
but
Zone.
it's like it's
In
basically
the-
just establishing that like I think it's about just like the therapist. I think it's just like
Oh.
it's like when they like leave that sort of like dream sequence up until like I think it's like right before like the morning of like December 7th.
Oh
The
yeah, because he
therapist is like
says tonight
perplexed
we're gonna
about
see a
him.
story written by Rod Serling and starring William Bendix.
Oh, the
Oh.
Desi
Well,
part?
there was like one later on that was like, oh,
Yeah, he
like
does one later.
the guy was here for like the guy ended up sleeping here for hours and the therapist didn't leave or something because
Yeah,
Damn
halfway
you,
through.
so
IMDb.
like
The
he was just so
second-
like fixated on it.
The second commercial break, when they came back and he was laying there, it says, "This Mr. Jensen is sleeping," and
Hmm.
they said something, but I don't have that, so we'll just have to imagine it.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of explanatory with like what happened after.
Make up your own shit. That's how we gotta do it.
Yeah.
It's basically what
Make it up as you go. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
When in doubt.
But okay, so to kind of talk about what this episode is, it's about a man talking to another man about a thing and a place and a time. And yeah, that's the episode. How's that? Is that good? Did I do right?
Yeah.
Sound good?
About a dude talking to a dude about another dude who's
yeah.
acting like a
Only the
dude who's
best
not a
of
dude.
movie critics to ever movie critic.
I try.
You're looking at the wrong place if you're looking at me.
But no, this guy named Peter Jensen goes to a psychoanalysis played by Martin Balsam. Complains about a recurring dream about as he wakes up in Honolulu during the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. And it basically is a 51-minute story about his recollections about who he meets at Pearl Harbor, how he tries to warn people about Pearl Harbor, how he's looked at as crazy, how he meets a young sailor who is an engineer on the lower decks of the USS Arizona. And it's basically a recurring nightmare that he has that he talks about. And that's kind of what it does. I mean, that's, once again, he tries to take advantage of the situations, betting on horses and all that stuff. And I can't remember the first time he gets attacked in his room, he doesn't get shot, but he like ducks out of the way, right? Or do the planes attack him? I'm trying to remember.
He just wakes up.
He just wakes up, so he doesn't like
He
it.
says, "I feel like there's more to. I'm not supposed to wake
Okay.
up there."
Yeah, because he warns Gillespie, the Martin Balsam character, that do you want me to go back and you want me to die or something like that, and then I know, Jake, you were talking about how it was confusing. Some parts of the ending were confusing to you, but I mean, what do you guys think about like the story of what's going on, like the ideas being presented, like with Jensen and what he's doing and how he's talking to people, and how he gets called crazy as you would if if you ever seen like 12 Monkeys, the Madeline Stowe character thinks that the character played by Bruce Willis is crazy, and even though he knows about the virus, it's that same premise in a lot of ways where this guy keeps going back, but he keeps going back to the same scenarios, like Quantum Leap or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I,
I feel like Jensen himself, I guess it was interesting following him out of all the characters because he is such an argumentative kind of hard ass and also is definitely someone who like is very insistent in like what he sees and what he knows. Which is like understandably so because of the circumstances around him, but I think it's also interesting because, you know, there's definitely some thrown hands regarding him and his like general attitude, but it's still like at least like nice as a viewer to see that like he's still believed in spite of like what people see as far as like externally with his personality. But yeah, I guess that's just how I felt about like Jensen in general. But I think my favorite characters and who I wish had more screen time, I think, were the honeymoon couple. Only
Hmm.
because like I feel like that was the most kind of interesting sort of anecdote that played a role into someone potentially being like one or like more people being potentially affected by the Pearl Harbor attacks, given the story. And I feel like I don't know, they just seemed so like sweet and wholesome. And like I feel like there already was a bit of garnered sympathy because of that potential revelation of, oh shit, like this guy might actually like be in the center of this and he's being told this information about how he could actually die when it's like already when you're in the military there is already that kind of life or death that you enter
Hmm.
into. So I can understand maybe the skepticism on his part, but I thought it was really interesting seeing how like there was just this newly married couple who is just in bliss, having the time of their lives, and it really sort of added on to like the calm before the storm that like is supposedly being predicted, but then historically did actually happen. But it's one of those things where even though this does take place with like a real world occurrence, it's really a we like it's I guess it's sort of an interesting approach to then be like, well, we won't believe it until we see it from like everyone except Jensen, and then when Jensen is proven to be correct, then it's like he also takes the fall as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny how people react when they don't know how to deal with a situation like that. But I mean, what about you guys?
I thought it was a solid Twilight Zone-esque thing. Interesting premise. And you do kind of get lost in the layers of Inception because near the end we find out that there's no such guy as Jensen that's existed. And I think you could like to a to an audience at that point in time, I think that's an interesting like notion.
yeah, I thought that was cool. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, and I wasn't like blown away by any like revelation beyond the fact that I thought he was in the future-ish, and he was actually in the past. I wasn't blown away by that, but I didn't see that coming. Probably just me. But the like a part of the like closer to the end, they were like after he's disappeared and all that, and they see the picture. I don't know. Did he ever say? I guess he did say he was a bartender, didn't he?
He said he was a bartender like for a night.
The chances of this guy walking in, because I was really expecting him to like look up something in a book and find his name as like among the dead or something like that. But like he walks into this particular bar and finds his picture on the wall of some guy who worked there 15 years earlier and died in Pearl Harbor, and they had his picture right there. I mean, I get you got to suspend disbelief, I guess, but I don't know. That one seemed
Well,
a
I
little.
mean, it is kind of brought up. Is it something that he imagined? The Mark Balsam character imagined this guy? Is it something that actually happened? It's one of those mysteries that, like,
Yeah,
well, kind of have to leave it
maybe
to
he'd
your own
seen the
devices, I
picture
guess.
at the bar when he was drinking there another time, and he just kind of imagined the whole situation.
Yeah. It's once again, it is early machinations of Twilight Zone, so it might not be perfect, but it like I said, it leads into once again his dreams are very realistic, very vivid. It's surprising that like, it's kind of sad and heartbreaking because of the simple fact of like one of the people is the person that knocks him out, knocks Jensen out is the young kid and the wife or honeymooning couple or whatever. And it just is an interesting premise. Like, what would you do in that scenario? Would you act the same way? Would you not act the same way? Like, how would you handle that scenario if you were put into it, I guess?
I'd probably do what he did, start betting on horses and stuff.
Would you do the Back to the Future Part 2 thing?
Yeah, which I kept expecting them to come back to that and him be like, that was going to be his Hail Mary, where he's like, I know it's real. And he's like, no, how did you know? It's not real. It's just a dream. It seems real, real. He's like, oh, yeah, here's my bank account. And here's all these horse races I won back 15 years ago. And I'm going to collect on them now or something like that. But they never really brought that back.
But you think about the time and place, and to show someone, because they talked about how he was kind of a rapscallion, kind of, guy about town kind of a deal. If they were to show someone making money and cheating at it in that respect for primetime TV, I'm not sure, or without the kind of like consequences, that probably wouldn't have been a thing that would have flown very, very well with folks.
Yeah, I guess.
I could be wrong, but I mean, that would be my thoughts on it.
It's him being like I was gonna say we've had characters like that on there before, but he being the protagonist, they
Yeah.
got to keep him at least somewhat clean.
Yeah. I mean, and they don't ever say, oh, he's a, piece of shit or anything, but, he's kind of said, oh, yeah, failed bookie, I tried to do this. He's a wanderer amongst anything.
It's really hard to find any information about this episode that isn't just like the plot synopsis.
It could be said that's also coming into play as a time element.
Uh-huh. She said that.
ah, ah, ah,
She did the thing.
I'm glad he found that
uh,
funny.
Yay.
Stuff.
Yeah, there's like I found Twilight Zone Vortex, which has many different narrations. It says once upon a time there was a psychiatrist, good ladies. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse. Tonight we are going to see a story written by Rod Serling. Apparently this was co-written by another person, but they didn't really credit her for that.
Yeah, because at the end it just says written by Rod Serling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it was mainly just him, his like own penmanship on it, or authorship.
But he did that once before too. Like he had someone else co-write his story with him. I can't remember what episode that was. I like how they shelved this story for like over a year. Like, man, some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's all I had. Just
Oh, I
agreeing with
thought someone
you.
was gonna say something.
Well, I'm sure maybe it was because of maybe the episode and even what we saw through the Twilight Zone really was like that. Like it really was just sort of very unparalleled. Like there really wasn't anything to compare it to, or it was maybe hard for studios or even like Desilu Playhouse to really fully see, I guess, Sterling's like creative vision overall and like what he wanted to do with, just having these stories be more of a twist. I mean, nowadays, even with like anthologies, like they're not as like relevant in the TV landscape, but like I mean with the popularity of Black Mirror and like the dialogue that comes from it, I mean they definitely still can persist in being thought provoking and exciting, but I think at the time it just was, there still was that new age of television sort of era, so I can imagine that maybe a lot of people did just want to play it safe and maybe didn't want to like push the boundaries of what television could do, but then at the same time there were people who wanted to. But even that duality is like seen with, I mean, even through like learning about like the history of cinema and things like that too. So
Right.
who knows?
It does say Serling revisited the time element in 1962 when he attempted to adapt the teleplay into a feature film starring Kirk Douglas and directed by John Frankenheimer. That would have been
Wow.
interesting.
I would have
Yeah.
been.
Interesting.
But
I could see how you would. I mean, obviously, you'd have to take this as your base and kind of, let it grow from there. But yeah, I could see this working. And I mean, we've seen similar the styles of things. So like that kind of
I mean, you could
reflect.
do it as like a it almost feels like this could have inspired like Stephen King's 11
Oh yeah, you know what? You're right.
a little bit.
11/22/63. It does like the
Yeah,
time, the rip in time, him
I'm trying
trying
to
to
think
go
back
back and change things.
back in
Yeah,
time for the Kennedy assassination and that or
yeah.
something.
Yeah, yeah. It spends like
it's
6 years in
Yeah.
the 1960s,
it's a
like leading up
great
to it.
book.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the ending of that book, like the when he comes back to the future after he's done his, whatever. But I don't know. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to talk about with this episode, like how good it is, or how much it is not as good as Perchance to Dream, or
Well, I think with Pertains to Dream, and I know that I brought this up quite a bit with like some other episodes, but it definitely plays along as being like, I guess maybe in a modern lens of it being like a little campy or just having just a little fun with itself. Whereas I think this episode overall had its like sort of brevity through like some of the other characters in the banter, but was genuinely more like a very seriously taken episode. Um, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to, I guess, even speak about Dissolute Playhouse because this is sort of the only. I mean, I would assume that all of us have only really seen this one episode from that series to be able to talk about it just because of like Serling's presence and like, I guess, appearance on this episode. But it does make me wonder like how things were like in between like this episode of Disco Playhouse coming out and like the creation of the Twilight Zone, I guess. Because it
well,
definitely breathes the same air as we established, but
yeah.
I do wonder like how I do wonder how Serling was able to like convince them about doing like
Well,
as many episodes as they did of the Twilight
yeah.
Zone kind of thing,
Well, I'll put
or
it
like
this
what the
way.
pitch was.
From what I'm reading, it looks like Sterling had a lot of issues trying to get this story to be put on air. And when it was bought by Desolate Corporations or Pictures or whatever, it was aired. It became hugely popular. It showed CBS executives that there were people out there wanting to deal with fantasy and sci-fi elements in their shows, and they greenlit because of how popular the episode was. How it's considered like one of the great true moments in television, just for the simple fact of like how much mail it got, how much like positivity it got, and it basically. What I'm gathering showed CBS that there was a drive for something that was similar to this, and he got greenlit for the series. So,
Mm.
There
I
was
mean, that's a
another
Trevor,
one
huge
that
compliment.
there
oh,
was another one that came off
Trevor,
of oh sorry.
Trevor,
My
yeah, yeah,
oh
part of your, there you go.
oh sorry. Not sure what was going on there. Um
Her porn
yeah,
encroached on the screen for a moment there.
well,
No, it's
I
just
gotta have some secrets.
it looked it's
Is
just
it 2D
it,
porn or
it's
3D?
just montages of horses.
Oh my god.
I don't know, I
Poor
saw a
porn.
horse, I'm sorry.
I like horses. No, actually I don't. I don't know.
She got her. Go ahead.
Very
Anyway,
questionable.
another one that came through from like of the episodes of note, like under the Wikipedia page, they mentioned that they did a two-part drama called like based around the Untouchables, like Elliot Ness and whatnot. That went on to be a hit series on ABC that ran for 4 seasons. So, I'm sure with that in mind, it kind of followed it. It followed that kind of thing, and there was, I mean, I don't know, I would imagine between the two of them, it was kind of a breeding ground for, okay, good stuff comes from this. What can we build off of it? Kind of a deal, if that makes any sense.
It did.
Hooray!
Yes.
Despite my porn addiction.
Yeah. Well, I
Yes.
mean, in spite of it.
Aw, thanks.
Nick, do you have any other thoughts?
I'm trying to think if I do, and I don't have thoughts.
It
I just
sounds
live
like you
here.
don't have any.
No, I mean, once again, it's the machinations, it's the early inclinations of what the Twilight Zone will do. Once again, it is inspiring for the Beaumont to write Perchance to Dream legitimately and Where's Everybody. So it has a lot of inspirations to what the Twilight Zone will do, and I think the opening, I think the middle, the ending, all that stuff put together creates a really interesting story that has a great payoff. And once again, I love the idea of the simple fact that Martin Balsam's doctor character just kind of sitting there confused, and like there's no Jensen on the chair. It's almost like Jensen just disappeared and went back like many days or weeks or before. And then he goes to the bar and he sees the picture on the bar, and it's like once again it leads into the question of did this doctor, did he really see Jensen in the chair, or is he imagining things, or is he Jensen, or what is happening? And
He didn't
it's a
remember
really
him, right?
Well,
That's what I
also in the
gathered.
patient book, it said no patients today.
did it? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it did on like his
Oh,
notepad too and stuff
Yeah,
like
there
that.
was
Yeah,
a
yeah.
still of it on IMDb too of it.
But like
And I
he
was like,
didn't
oh yeah, that's
remember.
right.
I gathered
Mhm.
that he like didn't recall the whole situation, but he like felt like something was going on. Because like
Yeah.
even when
Mhm.
he saw his picture, he was like, "Huh, who's that? That's familiar, but I don't know where I know him from."
Well, it's interesting, like the moment Jensen is killed by the plane, the Japanese planes. He just that's when the Balsam's character has that moment. But maybe it's the Weeping Angels from Doctor Who. They sent him back to, you
The
know,
silence. They
Mhm.
like
yeah, the
made him
silence.
forget.
Yeah, yeah. It
Oh,
was the
actually,
Daleks.
I did actually like the effect of the, I think, what is it called? Like that sort of like matte layering effect on Jensen's head, where like
Hmm.
just visually recalls what we just saw.
Oh yeah, the
I
whole
only
Oh yeah,
appreciated
yeah,
that
yeah.
the
just
dream.
because of like, yeah, but I only say that because as someone who had to watch The Incredible World of Horace Ford, I do not like the idea of watching the same thing times three. So I very much appreciated that things
Maybe
spin in a loop.
maybe they were using the wand like in Harry Potter to like erase his memory, like pulling out the memory into like a little vial or something.
You
It's
know, to that
possible.
I'd say praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Pass the
Exactly.
Praise the
ammunition.
Yeah.
Lord. Pass the
Actually, a song in the
ammunition.
I think the 30s or something, 40s.
Would have been the
It's possible.
was it
No, it,
well, after the world or after we
The guy
entered the
did
World
sing a
War?
couple of tunes before getting knocked out in the face.
yeah,
I
there was
think
a
you're
lot
right.
of punching in
Yeah, there
this.
was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Punch, punch,
praise the
punch.
Lord and pass the ammunition was an American patriotic song printed published as sheet music in 42.
Ah, right after this.
Yeah.
He did say next week you guys will be singing this.
Yeah. You
Uh,
won't understand it, but your kids will love it.
I was
so,
waiting for that when he was like, I'll sing you a song. And he was like, you ever heard of rock and roll? You ever heard of
And
this? And
then
I was
and
like,
then all of a sudden they break out into Come Wander with Me.
yeah. Oh God.
yeah,
And
there you
then
go.
I figured he was gonna do a Marty McFly and be like, your kids are gonna love it. You hadn't heard of it? You will soon.
I mean, the guy
You
did
think
ramble about being like, you ever heard of rock and roll?
Yeah. You heard of
You
rock
ever
and
heard
roll?
of
You
this
ain't nothing
the
but
person,
a
kids are
that
gonna love
person,
it?
this event, and whatever, whatever happened in the 50s? Like,
Oh, I know something else that bothered me. When he's getting questioned by his detainers at the fucking newspaper,
mm-hmm.
and like they're like, "Who's the president?" And I get the first time when he was like, "It's such as," I mean, shit, I'm 15 years earlier, or 12 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's he says whoever it is, I can't remember, FDR. And then like immediately after that, they're like, "Who's the vice president?" And he goes back into the same shtick of being like, "Oh, it's this the current his current president or vice president." And he's like, and he like sticks to it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, wait a minute, you know what? Somebody else like you just did this bit, you just realized, oh shit, who was it back then?" He doesn't do that. He just does the whole, "Oh, it's such and such." It's like what that kind of that pulled me out for a minute. I
I
don't know.
mean, clearly they have never seen Groundhog Day.
I think that
They
was in
would.
parts of that he can run off, like run out of the building kind of thing. So they didn't like keep him. So they didn't think he was
Hmm.
like crazy.
That part was great.
Yeah.
I think that was part of it where it was like, I think he was trying to, I guess for that moment or that instance, he was trying to say what like they wanted him to say instead of just sort of spewing out like kind of the actual, like the actualities of
I'll allow it.
like what was going to happen. Yeah, it was, I mean, it was kind of weird. Like, I do agree with you. It was kind of odd, especially because like we just went over like a
Yeah,
similar like
literally
circumstance. Yeah.
in the same breath.
Yeah, but that's why with that, I mean, that's why with that like newspaper room scene, why I liked the ending part of it and why it paid off for me. Because if it was just like, if it just ended with him running off, it would have been like, well, why the fuck were we there for so long? Like, what
Yeah,
was the point?
Do you think they were like so long and thanks for all the fish?
definitely. definitely.
Thanks for all the fish.
Oh
Yeah. So long
Do you have
and
your
thanks for all the
towel?
fish.
Do you think
It's from
that,
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
do you think they had oh, they probably didn't have spam yet be popularized.
Spam, spam,
Oh, no,
spam,
they
spam,
definitely
spam,
did.
spam, spam,
Well, it was
was-
around that
spam.
time. I
Spam's
just
been
don't
around since,
remember
like,
if it
World
was
War
like
One.
I don't remember if it was like pre or post like Pearl Harbor though. Because I know amongst the Pacific Islands, spam be popular.
Some parts all meat.
Yeah. Spam is pretty good.
It was introduced in 37. As of let's see, it gained popularity worldwide after its use during World War II. So that doesn't say if it was pre or post US. Because I know it
It
was
seems
big
like
in the UK.
Big in Japan.
it seems like a what is that? When everybody was poor and nobody had houses, 2025.
Like a water pie.
No, fish pie.
That's a thing.
No, the Great Depression.
Mm.
No,
Feels like
this would have
something
been
come out of
post.
the
This would
Depression.
have been post. This would have been post Great Depression. Well,
No,
37.
I'm just
so it
saying
would've been-
it feels like something that would have been invented in the Great Depression type
Yeah.
of thing.
And technically, World War II kind of.
Well, I think it was like
Well,
well, I think around the time that spam became popular was when there was more of a boom of like I don't know, like canned or like prepackaged food.
I don't know about you
Mhm.
guys, but I could go for some.
Like there was
fried
something
spam
there was
right now.
something about that in particular where it was
I
like
got some upstairs.
Get you some bologna, fried bologna.
Fried
I've actually been to
spam.
the Spam Museum.
Ooh, I think you told me
Lucky.
that.
Did you
Yeah,
get
it's
any
actually-
spam merch?
It's actually I did at one point. Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool museum.
I've been to the Coca-Cola Museum. Does that count?
I've
It's
been
not
to the
spam.
salt
It's cool in
shaker
a different
museum.
way. But also, well, they didn't talk about Coca-Cola in the Twilight Zone, huh?
Been to the
Imagine if
museum
they
of
got
salt
sponsored by
shakers.
Or
Spammer
squashies.
Coca-Cola instead of what was it like
Oasis.
cigarette brands,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Crest
you
and
know, or refrigerators or
And
Yeah.
Maytag. Okay. If we don't have anything else to talk about in this episode, Jacob, I think I sent you a link for Twilight Zone Vortex, which has the closing narration to
I have
this
the-
episode.
actually, one more
Oh, do
thing.
you?
If we were to put the time element on the ranking list, where would we put
We
it?
gotta do the closing narration first. We're gonna get there because I was gonna ask that.
Okay.
that's a
Are
good
we
You
question.
can
actually doing
ask it-
that?
How about you ask it as if I didn't ask it at all?
Hey, wait, hold on a second.
We didn't even hear that. It was
You didn't hear that?
silent. No.
Oh, stupid gate.
Oh, I got a cheap microphone. It's okay.
I couldn't hear it either.
You couldn't?
No.
No, it's the gate on the microphone, causing it to if it goes
How
too
many
loud.
gates on the microphone?
It's the fuck it on the microphone.
Yeah.
I have another microphone over there. I could do it on. It's a pro microphone.
Ooh,
It's a
Oh, look at this guy, pro. Oh,
audio pro, whatever that is. I don't
ooh.
know what the fuck that is. But
You
Did you
guys
get
all
that at
got
work?
me beat.
I'm thinking about streaming.
Hey,
again,
you
so-
have a Yeti. That's a good microphone.
It's a refurbed Yeti.
It doesn't matter. It's a good
That-
microphone.
Hey, refurbished a lot of times is better than new because all the kinks have been worked out and they went back in and
Well, I got it introduced to some new kinks.
If you
Oh,
want a Rode NT1,
are-
I haven't been using that one that often.
No, that's
Never
okay.
Rode.
This
No,
this
where
works
is it?
fine. Plus,
have
it
a-
needs to be a
Got a
USB.
Rode shotgun mic somewhere.
I have a broken Rode Mic Pro Go or whatever.
Quid
Rogan.
Pro or Rode Pro.
Quid Pro. Go.
All right. So Jacob, we have a voiceover narration and Desi Arnaz closing narration.
Oh, I've only got narrator closing narration.
All right, what you got?
I mean, it's probably. I feel as if I've got the wrong one now because it's like one
Hey,
sentence.
hold on. I'm gonna
Yeah,
I'm gonna
that is
chat you
that.
this.
That is the
There you go.
closing narration.
Oh,
I just chatted you what I have.
He
It's-
chatted you? Oh God, don't
Yeah,
open
that's
it.
a
It's
lot.
probably spam.
wow, that's a lot.
Spam,
That's like
spam.
Desi Arnaz. You need to shut the fuck up. Look at all the stuff you said.
Hey!
What are you talking about? The Westinghouse
That's
refrigerator
mean.
was excised from the syndicate
I
version
was
of
all
the episode.
excited. I was like, "Cat, one sentence. Hells yeah." Okay, fine.
But the question is, are you going to do it in Desi Arnaz voice or are you going to do it in Rod Serling voice?
We'll just have to wait and see. I do this just off the cuff. It is October 4th, 1958. Saturday, 12:10 p.m. If anyone is remotely interested in the time element, the element of time, Now we move on.
If someone was interested in the Twilight Zone.
And now a message from Mr. Arnez.
I didn't do that.
That's
but
like
okay.
really little writing. Can I make that bigger?
That's what she
That's what
said.
she said. There you go.
Haha.
Okay. As you can see, the pendulum has stopped. We wonder if Pete Jensen did go back in time or if he ever existed. My personal answer is that the doctor has seen Jensen's picture at the bar sometime before and had a dream. Lucy, any of you out there that have any answers, let me know. I want to know. We'd like to thank Mr. William Bendix and the entire cast for their wonderful performance tonight.
What have I done?
Arnaz then previews next week's show and helps sell a Westinghouse
Bring the
refrigerator.
prophecy.
This closing narration was
It's
excised
over.
from the syndicated version of the episode. Buy this refrigerator, this custom ice box from Westinghouse is very good. It keep-
Nick, you can't get a
Your
big
pork-
two.
it
Uh,
Desi, I'm late. I'm so
Lucy,
sorry.
it says
Yes,
it's excised from the
Desi.
syndicate
Yes,
version.
Desi. Yes, Desi.
Lucy uses
Yes,
this
Desi.
refrigerator every day.
What? I
It
wanted
wasn't
the
even
red
Lucy,
one.
It was
It's Lucy.
What's her name? She was
Lucille Ball.
Yes, honey.
No,
yes,
there was
what?
the woman for what is it? Because
There
there
is
was
no
a
other
fact
woman.
about how
Only Lucy.
Yeah, Desi had many
what was
women.
it?
No,
Well,
look
because there
here,
are two
Desi.
women,
Yes, you
but
did. We
anyway.
know you did.
No, there was
God,
something
you guys are-
about the
you guys are
time
awful.
element. Hang on. There was a fact I got where it was like for Desolate Playhouse, it was like the
Fuck
second
you,
season
Nicholas,
was
hold
hosted
on.
by Desi. The second season was hosted by
Fuck you,
Desi, but then the
Desi.
first season was hosted by a woman who was in that like I think she was in the
woman?
refrigerator advert.
A woman can't host a
Remember her
show. This is
name.
the 50s.
Jesus.
Fuck you, Desi.
Okay, then tell that to Lucille Ball then.
She didn't host a show. She
It
was
had
the
her name
star of
on
the
it.
show. I host the show.
Now, fuck you, Desi. I'm taking the
Aw.
kid and leaving.
I forgot her
Wah.
name.
You don't
You
take my
can
little
have the fridge,
bambino.
though. I don't want it.
What is happening?
Stupid fridge.
Pendejo. Pinto
I can't
punta.
hear myself.
Don't
Oh, fuck
take
you
my
too,
little bambino.
Desi.
When did we go from white to racist?
Oh no, it
This is
was
so-
okay, I do have my fact now. Anyway,
Take it
so
away, Alex.
Betty Furness was the host of the first season and Desi Arnaz was the host of the second season.
Okay.
But then I believe Betty was in the advertisement with the refrigerator. So she was still present on the
Betty
series.
White?
She just wasn't like prominently hosting
You're
it.
my friend.
On the Westinghouse Desilu picture show or whatever it is?
Yeah, the Westinghouse Desolate
There was a woman that was like standing by
I
the
guess they only
fridge
had
during
two
the
seasons.
advert.
Her name was Vanna White.
Yeah, I think
So was
that
your face.
Yeah, I
Vanna
think
White
that was Betty.
Westinghouse.
I don't know what the fuck Jake is doing though at this point.
I don't know.
Listen
I'm not
here,
paying
Desi.
attention.
Stop making fun of women's names.
It just
You're
reminded
called
me to actually
Desi
say that 'cause I
Arnaz, you
do
silly
remember looking that
bitch.
up.
My name is Ricky Ricardo.
No, it's not. That's a name I gave you, Pete.
Little Ricky.
No, that's our
Um,
kid.
Alex, so what do you got? Go ahead.
I already said it.
You don't
Oh, I
listen.
thought you were saying some more.
You man.
No, I was just gonna be like, thanks for watching the Fifth Dimension podcast, where
Oh.
maybe things are a little less unhinged.
Nicola Paula, Ricky,
Towards the end of
little
it.
Ricky
You know,
Ricardo's
great
gonna bitch
episode,
slap
though.
you.
Anyways, okay, so I'm getting this podcast back on track. So
Editing
Um,
nightmare for
Please,
Nick.
please,
Nick,
Yeah.
Nick,
little
Nick,
Nicky.
it's 1:00 in the morning.
My back is a
Okay,
headache.
so that is the time element. That is one that aired on the Westinghouse Desilu Playhouse. That's pretty much it when it comes to the episode. Usually we would have a ranking right now, but there's no ranking because it is its own segment.
What
So
if we
Okay,
were?
where would you
rank
put it though?
Put it at number
God.
7.
What number?
Right
is
right
Feast
above
of
Monsters
Dreams?
doing Maple Street.
Why is the
I
note
tell Ricky
page?
that all the time, but he never wants to
I
do
feel
it.
like this would be my top 50
Work, damn you.
of this.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you say you
How
put it
about
top
How about
50?
this? I was gonna
Yeah,
say,
or I
why
was-
don't we put it in
I'd
like
rank it
top
in
50 or top.
this
But
general
I
area
don't,
here.
I don't, I don't think, I don't think it's one. I don't want to redo the list again, but
No,
it's
no, we're not
It's not a
saying that,
Twilight
but
in
Zone
the
it's
list,
episode.
it's
generally-
like the
It's
the
hypothetical.
spiritual like just having a like slightly lighter font.
Hypothetical.
Just like
Yeah, but-
insert it somewhere.
Pencil it in. Stick a pin in
Yeah,
it.
pencil it in.
I mean, would you put it above like Ring a Ding Girl or He's
Post-it note.
Alive or Stop
Yeah.
Over in a Quiet Town?
I would say
or-
top. I would say it's
Yeah.
a top 50.
I mean, this
honestly-
is top 50. We're getting into like the 30s now. The Grave, World of His
I don't even know
Own.
what's in the top 50. Do you have the list?
We love you, Nick.
I
My brain
forgot.
doesn't love me right now.
I got a second wind.
Apparently.
Ricky Ricardo brought her back to life.
Little Ricky.
I don't know what the
Little
fuck
Ricky.
was
She's
happening
liking her
between you
little-
two,
she-
but I
She's liking her little Ricky right now,
have
apparently.
no idea.
I know I have a little Ricky in my sock
Um,
drawer right now. So.
Oh my.
Oh my
All
god!
right, so I just sent you the top 50.
Give these people some dry martinis down here. They
Yeah, I
need
want
it.
those. I
name-
want the.
Give them
those
His name is
olives.
Hitachi.
a vacation to Hawaii too. Damn.
I want
Hitachi
those.
Nikki.
I want those olives to be coughing.
We're a thing about machines here, people.
Oh god.
Anyway, okay, so this is I sent you guys the top 50.
I'd have it. Okay, I personally would probably have it at like
Think of the razor,
30 or 31.
but not a razor.
30 or 31.
Yeah.
So like between the grave and Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
I could see that.
This discussion is going to put me between the grave.
It's your fault too. You put yourself
Why I
here.
get blamed for everything here? I did what
This
I
is
was
just
asked
the
to
way
do.
it is.
You're the one who went off the rails on the bottom half
I
of
didn't
my
go off the
screen. I
rail.
can't even
I
look
read
at
what-
you.
I performed the piece that was put before me.
Yes, you did, but like
Little Ricky didn't though.
Arnos doesn't even sound like that.
You were going like Leprechaun for there for a second. I didn't know what was going on. You
I am the
offended like
leprechaun.
you offended like 18 countries at once. So I don't know what's happening.
That's what
Hi,
I'm saying.
laddie.
I'm like, I have no idea what was
Welcome
happening.
to the Dizzaloo.
I just sounded like a drunk Jersey chick.
So would you put
had,
this
like a
so
sidekick?
I didn't have time to prepare.
but I mean there's like Printer's Devil too, so I don't know if you put this like in that area or well. I mean you said 30 or 31.
I did.
I'm good, kind of in that realm, honestly. Just if we're talking generalities.
I just feel really good about this episode because it just felt like we really got back to
Yeah.
the good old days, man. Like, no shit. All the jokes aside, it did.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how
because,
you're
like,
gonna feel about the Twilight Zone the movie then. If
the
that's
I love
how
the
you
movie.
feel about
The
this.
last little bit, not a little bit, the last while we've been. It's just I don't know. I've enjoyed doing it, but the episodes just have like not had that spark. And
Yeah.
this one, while not perfect, it did. It just felt like we were back to the good old days, you know.
It's a
Yeah.
proper it felt like I said before, it felt like a breath of fresh air. It felt like
Yeah, a proper
like-
Twilight Zone episode.
yeah, 100%.
It's
It
almost
was
like
that-
Rod Serling wasn't burnt out or something like that,
Yeah, crazy, man.
right?
Great.
Does this
really
mean we're
enjoyed
gonna
this.
watch that Christmas Carol one?
That's a movie, isn't it? Or was it that was like a
It's about
special?
I think it's like an hour and a half movie.
Mhm.
Jake has said that we're not
Or look
watching that
by
until
Sterling.
Christmas anyways.
I mean,
Not
Jacob
until
is-
Christmas.
Christmas will be here in no time.
We're gonna
That's
watch it.
8
We're gonna watch
months
it during
from
Christmas when Jake
now.
forgets to come on the podcast again.
When do I forget to come on? I'd like to say I don't think I ever miss.
Oh,
Well, you
I
have
remember-
7 kids, so no, you didn't miss.
There was that one time though. I don't know if you guys remember that I totally just didn't show up. Like I totally
Yes,
forgot
that's
we
what
were
I'm talking about.
recording.
You fell asleep or some nonsense.
But
fell
they
asleep.
like I totally
Okay,
forgot
now
we were
I don't
recording.
feel bad about being late.
But they didn't record that night.
Well, no, because I was like, fuck it, we're not recording because Jake can't come on at
One
that.
time out of like 150 episodes. Come on.
Hey, I'm sorry, not everyone has internet issues like me. God,
I was like, I remember sitting there and I was like, because I'm like terrible about checking my phone. Like everything, they like text me and stuff, and I like 3 hours later, I'm like, oh yeah, just got this. So I'm sitting there and Nick had texted me and all this, and I may have slept, but I think I was awake when I realized it, and I was just sitting there and I was just like, oh fuck. Like it was like 1 a.m. I was like, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, there was one time I texted you, Jake, and like 3 days later you responded back. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing?
Yeah, I'm terrible.
I mean, I know you're busy, so I was like, whatever, but I just laughed. I'm like, what is he even
Well,
talking? Oh, yeah.
sometimes
I
I'll
last
see
week too. I'm so
messages.
bad at checking my phone too.
I'll
can't-
see
it's
messages sometimes,
relatable.
like on my watch or whatever, but I'll be like at work doing something. I'll be like, okay, I'll respond to that in a little bit, and then I don't. But I see it like later on, like a day or two
Damn.
later. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't respond to that.
But anyways, so yeah, well, I mean, if we were to stick it anywhere, we stick it in 30 or 31. So, but anyway, yeah. So,
Just- I wanted
anyways,
this to be like a
so
floating like ghost like text.
yeah,
It's kind of like
it's just kind of like
floating around. It's floating
it's
around
like
the
now
top
they have
30.
on when you text people, you can actually change it to like where it explode, like the text
the-
explodes and stuff like
the
that.
invisible ink one where it's
Yeah, yeah. Oh man. Anyway, so we'll head out for today. I'll figure out what we do the next episode. So, Alex, as always, thank you for coming on last minute. You're like I said, you're our fourth chair, so we always glad to have you on.
spiritual
But
fourth
you're
chair. I just
What's that?
float in whenever they need me. I'm
Yeah,
like
you're
Linda
the-
in
you're
her
the-
bubble.
if this were baseball, you'd be the cleanup, which is like the most important position in baseball.
I'm the
Who was
fluffer.
I don't know baseball. What's going on?
No, the cleanup's the fourth hitter is usually like the power hitter. So the one that hits the ball and like in the like home runs.
That's a high compliment, is what he's saying.
Damn.
Yes, I'm giving
home
you a
runs?
very good compliment. What's
In
that? You're
life? That's crazy.
like the cinematographer of the podcast.
In life.
We'll say you're like the cinematographer, and Trev's like the I don't know, director, and
What?
Jake is the
Gaffer.
I don't know.
He's the best
gaffer.
boy.
The best
He's the
boy.
he's the
I'm a
electrician.
best boy.
But for the time being, we're gonna head out. And for myself, Trev, Jake, and Alex, we'll see you guys next time in the Twilight Zone. Peace out, fuckers.
Ooh,
See you next time.
I love it.
Okay, so
Trying
I
to tell
got-
me it's a wonderful knife is horrible. Get out of here.
Okay, have
You're off
you-
the podcast.
Okay, fine.
No,
I
please
can
come
go to-
back.
I
Please come back.
can go to bed then. Great.
Wait.